12, chapter entitled Devotional Service. Invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 1. Arjuna Uvacha Evam Satata Yuktaye Bhaktastvam Paryupasate Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha.
Arjuna inquired, which is considered to be more perfect, those who are properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested?
Text 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tamamataha.
The Blessed Lord said, he whose mind is fixed on me, my personal form, who is fixed on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me with great transcendental faith, is considered by me to be the most perfect.
Text 3 to 4. Ye tvaksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam sanniyam yendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhayaha te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha.
But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed, and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons, engaged in welfare of all, at last achieve me.
Text 5. Kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta higati dukkham devadbhid avapyate.
For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied.
Text 6 to 7. Yetu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya madparaha ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate teshamaham samudharta mrityu sansara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha maya veshita chetasam.
For one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, who has fixed his mind upon me, O son of Pratha, for him I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Text 8. Mayeva mana adhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivesishyasi mayeva
Oh,
na sanshayaha.
good question.
Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live with me always, without a doubt.
Text 9. Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayi sthiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichhaptum dhananjaya.
My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, you will develop a desire to attain me.
Text 10. Abhyasepya samarthosi matkarma paramo bhava madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avyapsyasi.
If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Text 11. Athaitad apyasaktosi kartum madyogamashritah sarvakarma phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan.
If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness, then try to act, giving up all results of your work, and try to be self-situated.
Text 12. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnanad dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phalatyagas tyagat shantir anantaram.
If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of fruits and of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind.
Text 13 to 14. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukha kshami santushtaha satatam yogi yatatma tridanishchayaha mayarpita mano buddhir yo mad bhakta same priyaha.
One who is not envious, but who is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor, who is free from false ego and equal both in happiness and distress, who is always satisfied and engaged in devotional service with determination, and whose mind and intelligence are in agreement with me, he is very dear to me.
Text 15. Yasmano dvijate loko lokano dvijate chayaha harshamarsha bhayudvegair mukto yah sachame priyaha.
He for whom no one is put into difficulty, and who is not disturbed by anxiety, who is steady in happiness and distress, is very dear to me.
Text 16. Anapekshaha shuchir daksha udasino gatavyathaha sarvarambha parityagi yo mad bhakta same priyaha.
A devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without care, free from all pains, and who does not strive for some result, is very dear to me.
Text 17. Yo na hrishyati na dveshti na shochati na kankshati shubha shubha parityagi bhakti manya same priyaha.
One who neither grasps pleasure or grief, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, is very dear to me.
Text 18 to 19. Samaha shatro cha mitre cha tatha mana pamanayo shitoshna sukha dukkeshu samaha sangha vivarjitaha tulya ninda stutir moni santushto yena kenachit aniketaha sthira matir bhaktiman me priyo naraha.
One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equiposed in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contamination, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and engaged in devotional service, is very dear to me.
Text 20. Yetu dharmamritam idam yathotkam paryupasati shraddhana matparama bhaktasti tiva me priyaha.
He who follows this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engages himself with faith, making me the supreme goal, is very, very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We finished the recitation?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you very much, Vrinda Devi, Dasi, and Prabhu, for your nice recitation. Dear devotees, thank you very much for attending today's chat session. It's going to be a special one because we have a very special guest. Actually, I hesitate to say special guest because Maharaj is not a guest. He's so much part of our community. But it's always a pleasure to listen to Maharaj because everything he speaks is so inspiring. And he always speaks something, that will resonate and help us in our spiritual life. So dear devotees, we all welcome Maharaj to today's chat session. He's going to be speaking on text number 17 today. And he'll also be saying some words to inspire us. We are now in the last week of our winter book marathon. So we're getting towards a sprint. So it's nice that so many of you all have come, 65 today. And let's open our ears to attentively hear some wise words of devotion from Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. Welcome to today's session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu. Always a pleasure to see you and to see all the devotees. Hare Krishna, everyone. Yeah, we're here this evening reciting the 12th chapter of the Gita. It's very, very beautiful. It's interesting, on the marathon, I end up remembering Gandhi a lot because every single day when we go out, we're showing people the Gita and we always speak to them about Gandhi and how he appreciated the Gita. It's interesting, Gandhi, he said that if all the verses of all of the scriptures were lost, and there was only one verse still available, then from this one verse, everything else could be explained. Does anyone know what that verse is? We'll do a quiz today to see whether anyone knows. He says, if all the verses of the scriptures were lost, but this one verse remained, everything you'd need to know would still be contained within this verse. Anyone know which verse that is? It's not a Gita verse, by the way. Okay. No, I don't think many people would know this actually. He quoted actually the first verse of the Ishopanishad actually. He said that if all of the verses were lost and only this one verse remained, the first verse of the Ishopanishad, all of you know, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Yat kincha jagatam jagat tena tyaktena bunjita magrida kashyasvidhanam. That one should only take what is required for themselves and not go on to someone else's property. Because Gandhi is famous for his quote that the world has enough for every man's need, but not for every man's greed. So yeah, Gandhi really appreciated that verse from the Ishopanishad. Gandhi really, really appreciated the Bhagavad Gita. We know that famous quote where he says that whenever he feels down, then he reads a verse from the Gita. But you may also may or may not be aware that legend has it that Gandhi was actually reciting the 12th chapter of the Gita every single day. And he said this chapter was actually incredibly, incredibly important to him because it talked so much about character and it talked so much about how someone who actually claims to be a Sanatan Dharmi or one who is dedicating their life to Krishna or God, how they should actually act and be. So, so the 12th chapter is really, really important. So today we're reading from Bhagavad Gita. So what I'm going to do is can I share my screen, Vrindavan Chandrapur?
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji,
Oh,
can you give Kesava Maharaj, make him co-host, please?
And while you're doing that, I'll just do the Mangala Charan. Om Agyan Atimiran Dhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Yakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shriva Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Still can't share my screen. Possible? Or if it's not possible, then I'll read.
Jyoti Mataji, are you online? Can you hear me? I'm not co-host, so I can't do it. Oh, co-host. Okay, I can do it. I can make Maharaj. Let's see if I can make you co-host. Okay, let me share it then. Maharaj, 1 minute.
Or you can share the verse yourself. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
also fine. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would be nice if we can all see it, then we can recite it together.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is chapter number 12, verse number 17. Krishna continues to speak to Arjuna about the qualities of someone who is very, very dear to him. In other words, these are the qualities which endear one to Krishna. When Krishna sees that a devotee has qualities like this, then Krishna is immediately attracted. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God will want to see you. So if you develop, or if we develop these kind of qualities, then Krishna will come running and say, where's that devotee? I want to see that devotee. So Krishna says, Yona rishyati na dveshti, na sochati na kangshati, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktiman yasame priyaha. So we'll just go to the translation. Krishna says, one who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me. And we'll just go on to the purport. Srila Prabhupada says, a pure devotee is neither happy nor distressed over material gain and loss, nor is he very much anxious to get a son or disciple, nor is he distressed by not getting them. If he loses anything which is very dear to him, he does not lament. Similarly, if he does not get what he desires, he is not distressed. He is transcendental in the face of all kinds of auspicious, inauspicious, and sinful activities. He is prepared to accept all kinds of risks for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Nothing is an impediment in the discharge of his devotional service. Such a devotee is very dear to Krishna. There are many ways in which we can judge the advancement of a Vaishnava. One way we advance the judge the advancement of a Vaishnava is how much taste do they have for hearing and chanting about Krishna. So we can say taste for spiritual practice is one good measure of advancement. Another measure of spiritual advancement is faith. How much faith do we have in Krishna? Krishna bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoy. If you have the faith that by doing Krishna conscious activity, everything will be achieved in your life, that's real, strong faith. How much faith do we have? That's also another measure of one's devotional advancement. Another way to measure one's devotional advancement is how much detachment does one have from the material world, from material desires, from material things. Another way to judge one's advancement is how many saintly qualities has one developed, and how many of the demoniac qualities have they managed to remove from their character. These are all measures of devotional progress. And why does Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita there are so many sections in the Gita where Krishna talks about the character of someone who's actually a devotee? And why does Krishna talk about who's the character of a devotee? We can say for maybe a few reasons. The first reason is that it helps us to identify who is a pure devotee, and then we can learn from them and hear from them. Therefore, Krishna says a pure devotee is moving like this, is acting like this. Therefore, if you ever find someone like that in the world, then listen from them, hear from them, serve them. So we can, one reason Krishna gives this is so we can identify an advanced devotee. Another reason why Krishna gives this is so we can judge our own advancement and say, like, how much am I embodying this kind of character? And so, you know, sometimes we look at Krishna consciousness and we say, like, I'm not sure, am I advancing? Am I not advancing? Sometimes we chant some good rounds and we think like, yeah, maybe I'm there. Maybe I'm just about to reach prema. But actually, if we really want to know where we are, then a verse like this is very, very powerful. And in this verse, if we were to boil it down to one thing, Krishna is basically saying that one who is a real Vaishnava is satisfied. Santushta satatam yogi. One who is a devotee is satisfied. Satisfaction is perhaps the most difficult thing in the world we're living in today. Practically everyone is dissatisfied with something in their life. They're dissatisfied with some situation around them. They're dissatisfied with some element of their life. But a devotee is actually just satisfied. And the more that you're satisfied, the more you can understand you're advancing. I'm just going to do a quiz here and see, and maybe if you don't know, you can just guess and you can put your answer on the chat. Chanakya Pandit says, there are 3 things in life that you should always be satisfied with. And there are 3 things in life that you should always be dissatisfied with. So let me ask you, all of you wonderful souls on the call, what are the 3 things, or can you think of 3 things that Chanakya mentions that you should always be satisfied with? There are 3 things that you should always be content about. Does anyone know any of those things, what they may be? Let's see. I'm not going to do it all for you. You guys got to work this evening. What things should every person in their life be satisfied with? Answers on the chat. Find out how many of you are actually listening. Okay, you don't need to send it only privately to me. You can send it to everyone. Ravi's come up with an answer, a good answer. Anyone know any other things that Chanakya says you should be satisfied with? If you can't write on the chat, you can just unmute yourself and speak. Okay. Yes, okay, Vrindavan Chandra has given us all the answers. 2 of the answers. Yes, the 3 things Chanakya says you should be satisfied with in your life. One is your partner and how beautiful they are. you know, the kind tendency is to think, oh my God, maybe I could have done better. No, whoever Krishna arranged for you to come together with, you should be satisfied with that. The real beauty is not the form, the real beauty is the character and the commitment in the relationship. Yes, the first thing you should be satisfied with is your partner. And we can extrapolate that and say, like, you should just be satisfied with the people around you. You know, everyone around you is there for a reason. We always think, like, I wish I had different people around me, but you know, even the people that are surrounding you are there. You can learn something from all of them. So the first thing we should be satisfied with is our partner. The second thing Chanakya Pandit says you should be satisfied with is food, whatever food you have. You know, the lobha moi sudurmati, you know, the tongue is like so voracious, always wants more. And Rupa Goswami says that if you can control your tongue, then you can control all your other senses. And so when we're constantly dissatisfied with food, and we want something different, something more, then we can understand that we'll be dissatisfied with all other aspects of what the senses receive. So Chanakya Pandit says the next thing you should be satisfied with always is whatever food you have on the plate. And the third thing Chanakya Pandit says you should always be satisfied with is your money, however much wealth you've been given. Sometimes we wish we had more wealth. And, you know, sometimes people win the lottery and they realize after having all of that wealth, they just want to be again, poor again. So the rich want to be poor, the poor want to be rich. Everyone's dissatisfied with how much money they have. But whatever Krishna has given you, if you try to over-endeavor for things which are difficult to achieve, then again, you will divert your attention from the real thing. So these are the 3 things Chanakya says you should always be satisfied with. Your partner, number 1, food and the necessities of life that you've been given, number 2, and number 3, money, whatever your fortunes are, whatever you've been given by providence according to karma, that you should be satisfied with. And if you look at the world practically today, these are the three things that they're most dissatisfied with, right? Like, you know, so much promiscuity, so much relationship breakdown because people are not satisfied with the person that they're with. You see so much endeavor to work so hard for money to try to increase, you know, people ready to do all-nighters at work and all kinds of ridiculous endeavors to just lose their health to get money. And you see how food becomes such a big thing, you know, people, you know, they make all kinds of complicated arrangements just to fulfill a basic necessity that doesn't need to take very long in the day at all. And they divert their attention. So you see, the whole world is dissatisfied with these three things, and they waste time and they waste energy, and they don't derive any extra real deep satisfaction from gaining any of these things anyway. So Chanakya says these three things you should always be satisfied with. And that's basically what Krishna is saying in this verse, that a devotee is always satisfied. A devotee and neither laments if something is gone, neither desires so much for something. A devotee never rejoices or grieves. Good things come, bad things come. A devotee takes it in their stride. It's difficult. It's so difficult to be satisfied, but Chanakya says and Shastra says that this is the real hallmark of someone who's a real devotee of Krishna. But then Chanakya says there are three things in your life that you're allowed to be incredibly dissatisfied about. And a devotee dissatisfied? No, a devotee is always satisfied, yes, but there are three things that a devotee is always dissatisfied with. And you know what those three things are, right? Number one is their knowledge. Devotee is always dissatisfied. They're always hungry. They're always eager to know more and more. The sages are hearing from Sutta Goswami. And what do they say? Vayam tu na vitripyama uttama shloka vikrame yatrinvatam rasa jnanam svadu svadu pade pade. The sages say, we're never tired. We're never satiated hearing you speak Hari Katha, Yatrinvatam Rasa Jnanam, because this jnana, this knowledge is giving us so much rasa, so much taste, so much relish. Svadu, svadu, pade, pade, at every step we're tasting more and more and more. So a devotee is never satisfied with their knowledge, their education, their hearing of Shastra. They always want more and more, isn't it? Like, for example, another name of Sutta Goswami is Ugra Shrava. Ugra Shrava. Understand? Ugra means like terrible, or not, but it can also mean like voracious. And Shrava means hearing. So one of his names, Ugra Shrava, literally means one who is a voracious hearer. Bhima was a voracious eater, but the saints, the sadhus, they're known as Ugra Shrava. Also, a learned person in Sanskrit, you know, another word for a learned person in Sanskrit is Bahushruta. Bahushruta. A learned person in Sanskrit is known as Bahushruta, or one who has heard many, many things. Because if you hear many, many things, then naturally you become learned. So the first thing a devotee is dissatisfied with is their knowledge of Shastra. The second thing a devotee is dissatisfied with is their chanting of Krishna's names, their chanting of mantra. They always feel I should do more, and not just do more, but I should be more present. But just not just be more present, I should give more of my heart. So a devotee is always feeling dissatisfied with how much and in what quality they're chanting Krishna's names. And the third thing, the third thing that a devotee is dissatisfied with is charity.
Yeah.
How much they're giving to others. A devotee never thinks like, okay, that's it. I've done my bit. I've given my charity. Now I'm okay. I'm okay for another 5 years. No. It's interesting. There's a verse in the Quran, and in the Quran it says, a prayer takes you halfway to God. Fasting brings you to the door of God. But charity induces God to then open the door from the inside and let you in. I thought that was very profound. Because prayer, you can say, is like passive spirituality. Fasting, you can say, is like active spirituality, like sadhana. But charity is like active spirituality, which goes beyond yourself. Active spirituality in which you're also trying to activate other people's spirituality or serve others. And that's an even higher level. So it's said that prayer takes you halfway to God, fasting brings you to the door, but charity induces God to open it from the inside. And therefore, Chanakya says, a devotee is never satisfied with how much they're giving. We live to give. And so here, as we're talking about Krishna, he's basically saying a devotee is satisfied. With all material things in your life, you should always be satisfied. But then we're learning from Shastra that on a deeper level, a devotee is dissatisfied. Dissatisfied with their learning, dissatisfied with their practice of chanting, and dissatisfied with how much charity, how much they're giving. And so here we are in the marathon. And if you're dissatisfied with how much you've been giving, if you're dissatisfied with the amount of charity that you've offered in your life, then here we go. The marathon is a great opportunity to just say like, okay, then in these days, let me go out. And there's only a few more days left. There's only 6 days left. And I tell you, these are the 6 best days to give, because everyone is out there. The towns are buzzing. We were just in Norwich today, and it was actually the best day of the marathon so far. It was just so sweet. It was just so beautiful. It wasn't cold. It was like 14 degrees. It felt like an Indian summer. And we met so many beautiful people. And it was just so nice. People are in a spirit of giving. And if the devotees go out there in the spirit of giving, then when you want to give, you'll meet people who also want to give. And you'll be able to give you a book, and they'll give you their time, they'll give you their attention, and they'll give you generously as well for the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And in this way, when you go out to give, then you'll meet people who are in the spirit of giving, and then there will be a wonderful interaction. And yeah, we're not satisfied. We're not ready to just sit down and say, I did my bit for the marathon. I've been out there. I was out every weekend on cold. No. Now these days, let's push a little bit more. Let's give a little bit more. And it's the final leg. It's the final lap of the marathon. You can't when you've done the whole marathon and you come into the stadium for the final lap and they start ringing the bell because it's the final lap, you can't then just say like, okay, now I take it easy. No, you can't do that. That will be a disaster. No, now is the time. They're ringing the bell. It's the final week. It's the final few days. And so we're all going out. So please, everyone, make a special effort Really go out there and experience the magic. The original marathon was only 3 days. It was the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, I think, of December. And then it expanded later on. So now you're actually getting into the core of the marathon, the final days. So yeah, let's go out there and let's not be satisfied. Although Krishna in this verse is saying, be satisfied. Yes, we should be satisfied with materially everything that's happening to us, that's happened to us. But spiritually, let's be dissatisfied with how much we've done to reciprocate with Krishna's kindness. And let's feel, I must go out there and do more and give more. And that's the spirit of our marathon. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much. I don't want to go on too long because I think you end at 8:45. Is that correct, Vrindavan Chandraguru?
Yes, Maharaj, that's correct. But it's a special day having you. So I think we can, I mean, I've got some announcements I'll make, but I think we can also take questions. It was such an appropriate verse for the occasion. And what you spoke about was just perfect, Maharaj. So I'm sure some devotees may have questions. If you have any questions, there's the opportunity to raise your hand via the reactions button on your panel. So please do that. Let's just see. There are some questions already coming through. I'm not sure who your name is. It's just coming up as iPhone. So
Sorry,
please.
Prabhuji, I'm Sundari Gopika.
Oh, Sundari
Hare
Gopika
Krishna,
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, please ask your question, Mataji.
Prabhuji, Maharaj said like a three thing, you know, that like we never satisfy, like bhakti. Three thing, Maharaj ne.
Knowledge,
Knowledge and
chanting
and charity. So Maharaj, charity means for devotee only like money or knowledge, like we giving like these days, just book like books distribution. So that this is also charity, like for going.
Yeah, Bhagavatam says, Praner Arthe Diya Vacha Shreya Acharanam Sada. What is the charity you can give? One charity you can give is your artha, your wealth. Another type of charity you can give is your vacha, your words. So when you go out on book distribution and you tell people about Krishna, your words are like charity because your words are opening up a whole new area of knowledge for them, realization of Krishna. Diya means your intelligence. You can use your intelligence in charity. Through your intelligence, you can plan how to make people's things better, how to make Srila Prabhupada's movement better. This is also charity. And prana, ultimately your whole life. When your whole life is utilized in service to others, then your whole life is like charity. It's like, I give my life in charity to you. So there's different ways to give charity. One is by giving material resource like Lakshmi. You can give food. You can give knowledge. You can give time. So these are all ways to give charity. But ultimately, Srila Prabhupada said the best charity is the charity of Divya Gyan, knowledge. Because the root of all suffering, Rupa Goswami explained that the root of all suffering is avidya. So if you want to break someone's suffering at the root, then you need to give them vidya. And where does vidya come from? Shastra. And therefore, if you give Shastra, you give Vidya. And if you give Vidya, you remove avidya. And if you remove avidya, you remove the cycle of suffering. And so ultimately, why do we do charity? Because we want to remove someone's suffering. So what's the best charity? The charity which will remove their suffering at the root. Does it make sense, Mataji?
Yeah, thank you, Mother. Thank you, Maharaj. Very satisfied. I'm confusing,
Never be
before.
satisfied. Never
Yeah.
be satisfied.
No, satisfied means the answer, because like
No,
a
I'm
whole
joking. I'm
purpose to
joking.
how to like
Yeah,
bring the souls to near to the Lord. So it's a
No,
process
sure,
is knowledge.
definitely.
So I'm before I'm confusing charity means so many ways. So that's why.
Yeah, no, is a very good question. Yes. Thank you,
Thank
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So what we'll do is we'll take one question from Garima Mataji, one more, and there's one on the chat. We'll do those two, and then we'll make an announcement, and then we'll close. Okay. Garima Mataji, you'd like to ask your
Hare
question?
Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
You mentioned about that the character of a devotee that Krishna has mentioned in the Gita, that we can use it to judge ourselves, how much we have advanced, But it is, I think, a human tendency that we tend to only look at the positive. We don't want to consider our negative side, So when we try to judge ourselves, we tend to, think that, oh, I don't have any problem. I'm okay. I'm better than others. So how to overcome that tendency,
Therefore, Guru Sadhu Shastra Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya. You purify your consciousness by Shastra, but guided by Guru and Sadhu. So yes, you have to read Shastra, then you have to do some introspection. Am I this? Am I developing these qualities? But then you always have Guru and Sadhu in your life who are also giving you feedback. Shastra is never understood in, you see, Shastra is not just a book. I mentioned this point recently. Shastra, don't just see Shastra as a book. Shastra is a living theology. So Shastra has to be understood through devotees. And devotees have to be in your life who can give you feedback. So then you will be okay. That's okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
And there's one question in the chat, Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj, why is it that we love the philosophy and even understand it, but what are the reasons we are unable to apply it daily?
Yeah. Therefore, Arjun asked Krishna, why is it that even when I know I should do something, I'm still not able to do it? And then Krishna says the famous verse, Kama esha krodha esha rajagun samudbhava. So, because we have material desires, our intelligence is covered. Vidvam sam api karshati. You may be a vidvan, you may know so many things, api karshati, but you can still become bewildered because balavan indriya gramo, the mind and the senses are very, very strong. So although we know what we should do, the mind and the senses are stronger. When the alarm wakes up in the morning, there is an intelligence, mind intelligence dialogue. And the mind says, it's too early, it's too cold, and it's too hard. And the intelligence says, no, but you had enough sleep. And if you don't wake up now, you won't be able to chant your rounds. And the mind says, yeah, but if I wake up, then I will feel tired during the day, and then I won't be able to do my duties properly. And then the intelligence comes in and says, but you woke up at this time yesterday, and you were fine. And like this, back and forth, who will win? Which voice will win? So for most of us, the mind is overpowering us. Therefore, Arjun says, Vayuriva sudushkaram. To control the mind, Krishna, more difficult than controlling the wind. But what does Krishna say? Asam sayam, it must be controlled without doubt. Mano durni graham chalam, the mind is very powerful, it must be controlled. Abhyasena tu konteya. Therefore, by spiritual practice and by detaching yourself from the mind. So You can get more and more knowledge. But if you're not learning mind control, all of that knowledge won't help you much. And you want to know the best way to do mind control? Go out, distribute books. Because when you go out and you distribute books, you have to control your mind. Because sometimes your mind is saying, I don't want to be here, I can't do this. Everyone's saying, no, it's too difficult. No, no. And then you just control, you develop a lot of resilience, you develop a lot of strength, you develop a lot of ability to not be deviated from a higher goal. So, yes, therefore Krishna says, Shraddha vallabhate jnanam tatpara shamratendriya. One who has faith, but who also learns mind and sense control, they're the ones that are eligible to receive knowledge. Knowledge in Krishna consciousness is not just a matter of the intellect. You have to also be able to control your mind and senses, and then you'll be able to live that knowledge. Okay, I hope that helps.
Hare Krishna, wonderful message. Dear devotees, I can see some hands up still with questions. Unfortunately, because of time, we want to keep our sessions as we intended. Sailesh Prabhu, I see you have your hand up. Maybe you can connect directly with Maharaj for your question. I have just one announcement to make. Dear devotees, we set some goals for this marathon. One of the goals was to have 300 members of our community come forward to dedicate 16 hours for the marathon. The other day, I sent out a little survey questionnaire just to find out how devotees were doing. Some of the other devotees don't like to fill forms and answer questionnaires. Okay, so we do not know exactly how we're doing against that goal. Only you know. So we have 69 devotees on this platform today. I hope all of you have signed up for that commitment to try to do something, but at least give our time 16 hours. We've got a couple of days left. We still have the opportunity to do 16 hours. Please come forward. There are many ways you can use up your 16 hours. I'm going to share on the chat group now some links for how you can get sponsorships for our Dharma Pack and Gita. So that's one opportunity. Many of you have done this in the past marathons. It's almost a proven fact, it is said, that if a person has given once in the past, they are very likely to give again. So if you're wondering or you're hesitant, who to ask to donate, you can approach someone you approached last year. Our goal is to distribute 25,000 other books and 25,000 Gitas. I'm sad to say we're very far away from that at the moment. Srila Prabhupada says, go on increasing my books, go on increasing my pleasure. So we want to to please Srila Prabhupada as much as we can. So let's try to make the endeavor. Devotees are going out every day. We are posting the various groups that are going out every day. This Saturday, we are going to have one last Maha going out. We're going to go out to Wembley, and if Maharaj is available, he's going to join us. So just connect with us on the 300 devotees group and participate in this marathon, and let's make it, success is not really in numbers. Success is in the endeavor. That's what Krishna says. So at least let's be satisfied as far as possible that we've endeavored. We've made some endeavor, at least 16 hours. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me by email, vrindavanChandra@krishnatemple.com, or any of the other leaders, Divyanam Prabhu, Keshav Gokulananda. And let's get together. Divyanam Prabhu, I see you've joined. Any message from you, Prabhu? You're our Sankirtan leader.
Thank you, Vrindavan Prabhu. Hare Krishna, my obeisances to Maharaj and everyone. Yeah, I just want to request the devotees that take the advantage of these last 5 days of the marathon all the way till Saturday. If you just divide 16 hours, you're talking about just around 3.5 hours you can do every day, which is very much doable. We have shared this particular link called the Dharma Pack. Gita Project works, as you know, tirelessly throughout the year, placing books in prisons, care homes, and many places. And they have many requests already, and we want to support the project by offering them many books. And so far, we have not had much sponsorships. So if that's one way, you can also use your 16 hours by calling people and letting your friends know that this is a great opportunity to give the charity in the form of knowledge. So you can get each one Dharma pack is available for 15 pounds. They can sponsor and we can place them on their behalf. Vrindavan Chan Prabhu, will you also share the Gita? We are also sending some Gitas to India, Africa, and possibly Ukraine this year. So that's another opportunity where you can reach out to the people and ask them to give this for this good cause for Ukraine. So that's for our Gita project called Shastradan, krishnatemple.com /Shastradan. And finally, as Vrindavan Chan Prabhu said, everything is great, but I think coming out has its own experience. You know, every evening devotees are out, like going out door to door or on streets. And yeah, this Saturday we would like to see at least 100 devotees come out on the last day. You're 70 of you, nearly on 65 on the group, so it'll be great if you all can join. We will send out the message few days before. We have some books we have already packed, and you can take some other books and prasadam and help us distribute those. So yeah, I just want to thank Maharaj for giving us his audience, being a constant source of our inspiration. And yeah, let's just give a final push for Srila Prabhupada, and so we can keep this momentum, and you know, the Sankirtan movement can carry on. Thank you, Vrindavan Chan Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you very much, devotees, for your presence tonight. My obeisances to all of you. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam
Vaishnavibhyo
Pavan Anantakuri Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare